lazy, entitled, the trophy generation. These are the stereotypes most often associated with millennials. I'm joined today with Aaron Schaben to flip the script on these stigmas. So Aaron, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Shannon.
So I want to start off by first defining who are the millennials?
The millennial, it's pretty much everyone that you just said, right? I mean, that's the stereotype, but no, it's really anybody who's born 1982 to 2000. So that puts them, 37, to 17.
So it's quite the range, but why is there such a stereotype with this group?
There's a great book out there. It's Misunderstood Millennial Talent. I highly recommend it, especially if you're working with millennials. And we are millennials, right? So we were working with ourselves almost. But, the stereotype is just like any other stereotype. It's actually a small minority of the millennials that are causing these. And the research says that there's 9% of millennials, 9% of millennials that are causing it. So there's this other 91% of millennials out there that act just like everyone else. They're just a little younger.
I was going to say, I think my biggest vice is just not showing up to things on time, but definitely not lazy or, not driven or anything like that. So there's obviously these two segments, and what are advisors doing now to serve those segments?
Well, first off, I think it's good to know what separates them. And so before we serve them, let's understand what it is. And so what separates the 91 from the 9? So the 9 could almost be, it's the privileged ones, right? But the 91%, I like to call them the silent minority, or the silent majority, it's what separates them is whether or not they have financial privilege. And financial privilege is defined as receiving $5,000, that's it, $5,000 per year from their family. So they have a financial safety net.
So it's a pretty low bar then, it seems.
Sounds like to me. I mean, $5,000 is not going to make a huge difference in your budget over the year, but I think it's maybe just knowing that if something happens, you can call mommy and daddy. You're going to be okay, right? I don't know.
No, absolutely. So how can the industry really then change the perception then that these millennials have?
Well, I think first to change the perception, it's like, let's focus on the 91. Right? In politics, we talk about the alt-right, the alt-left. So let's focus on the majority of people. And I think the key thing when focusing with the majority of millennials is just knowing that, they want mentorship. They want freedom. They want some autonomy. But most importantly, they want to know that they have a path. Whether it's an advisor that's coming in or whether it's a client. So how can we help them with that path? That's what they're looking for.
And, are millennials vocal about this? Are advisors embracing this? Or is it kind of, they have to feel each other out at the end of the day?
Yeah, so millennials, I believe, are very vocal about it because if they don't like it, they'll vote with their feet very quickly. Right? I mean, I'll pull out my phone. If I didn't want to be a part of this conversation, I'd pull out my phone and I'd start checking it out. Whether or not I'm engaged, right? Sure. Same thing happens with an advisor. If you're boring them or if you're having too long of meetings, they're going to check out and they're probably going to check off your client list pretty quickly.
So what would be your piece of advice then to millennials that are hardworking but are still struggling with those stigmas?
Yeah, no, I would just attack it right on. I hate to say it, but a lot of times people are like, oh, millennials. I like to come back and be like, oh, millennials suck. Because then people know, wow, okay, what does that mean? And I get to really attack it and be like, hey, I'm not them. I am going to be the dependable person and I am going to help you, but I'm going to do it a different way. I do want some freedom. I am going to ask for some schedule autonomy, but most importantly, I want to know that I'm heard. And I think there's a big difference in millennials, especially the older group of millennials. The millennials that are older are really asking for leadership, but I don't know if they're asking for the right thing. Because everybody says, oh, I want to be a leader. Well, that means they want to have a bunch of people that are reporting to them and all those things. I don't think they want that. I think the majority of millennials want influence. They want to know when they're in a meeting that what they say matters.
Yeah, they want to be part of something, greater than themselves at the end of the day.
Absolutely, yes.
So would you say the profession is delivering then for millennials?
I don't think so. I think the profession in general is failing millennials, especially those inside of it. And the main reason I say that is millennials want mentorship, they want leadership, they want autonomy, they want to know that there's a path, things that we've discussed. And on average in the studies, there's a 30% differential of how important it is to a millennial and whether or not it's being delivered. And so that's across the board. And so I think we need to look at the outside and we need to say, how can we, especially in a profession that has so many independents, how can we as independents deliver for the next generation to really help them grow our business?
Well, hopefully that's top of mind for advisors. And Aaron, thank you so much for your insights today.
Hey, thank you.
For Investment News, I'm Shannon Rossick.